Today's video is going to be how to use your Instant Pot. For years, I never knew how to use the Instant Pot, and it was a little intimidating for me because it was something new. When it first came out, it was like all the rage, and so we naturally just got one. This was when I was back home living with my parents, but at the time I still loved to cook and experiment in the kitchen. So when my mom got one, I was naturally curious and I wanted to try to use it, but I could never figure it out, and neither could my mom. So we just never used it for years and years. But then one day she experimented with it and we figured out how to use it, and now it's like the best kitchen tool that I have. I actually got rid of my crock pot to get one of these. Reason being, the Instant Pot has a slow cooker function, so it acts as a crock pot. So there wasn't really a need for me to have both a large crock pot and a large Instant Pot. It was just a waste of space. And I also really love the pressure cooker on the Instant Pot. It cooks things so well. I can't really describe it. It's almost like a slow cook, but a little bit better. But in today's video, I'm going to be showing you 3 functions on the Instant Pot that I absolutely love. Number 1 being the saute function. I absolutely love the saute function because there's nothing worse than following a crock pot dinner recipe and you have to saute something like meat before you're putting it in your crock pot. You're just like, ugh, I just want to throw everything in and not have to deal with it. And the Instant Pot kind of solves that issue because you just saute what needs to be sauteed first on that saute function, and then you put all the other ingredients in and then put it on the slow cooker function and you are good to go. You're not dirtying any more dishes. And obviously the pressure cooker function is the pressure cooker. I had the hardest time figuring out how to use the pressure cooker function, but once I figured out how to use it, I was good to go. And then last but not least is the slow cooker function. That one's super easy, and I really love the slow cooker on the Instant Pot because it has 3 heat options. One's less, normal, and then more, or low, medium, high. And I love that it has the medium function, whereas a regular crock pot just has low, high, and keep warm. But I do use the medium function quite often. It just is in between that long slow cook, and then it's not like a super fast cook on high. Another thing I really like to use the Instant Pot for is making bone broth, and this is done by using the pressure cook function, but it's really nice to do it in the Instant Pot rather than slow cooking the bones for like days and days and days. It just really speeds up that bone broth process. All right, enough of me talking. Let's get into the instructional part of this video. So the first function of the Instant Pot I'm going to be showing you is the pressure cooker. I have my meat here. I'm making carnitas for dinner. I saw the seasoning at the store and just wanted to try it. So that's what we're going to be making. So first, put your food in the Instant Pot, whatever you're cooking. This just what happens to be what I am making tonight. If you're following an Instant Pot specific recipe, it will tell you like how much liquid to put. You never are going to pressure cook without any sort of liquid, so just keep that in mind. And this recipe in particular calls for a ½ cup of water. So this recipe in particular, we're going to be pressure cooking on high. So first you're going to click the pressure cook button. Let me try to zoom this in so you can see it better. So on my Instant Pot, it's down here in this corner. So the pressure cooker defaulted to high pressure, which is what I want. And I actually am going to be cooking it on 35 minutes, so I don't really have to change that. But it has already turned on. It will beep a few times. You have to put the lid on. And then on the lid, you're going to make sure that this is set to sealing, not venting. I have the newer Instant Pot, so it looks like this. Some other ones have like a little turning knob right here, but just make sure it is set to seal. Now, this is the confusing part where the Instant Pot really threw me off. It will stay on until the pressure cooker comes up to pressure, which takes about 10 minutes. In fact, I'm going to set my timer so I can tell you guys how long this actually takes. So I'm starting my stopwatch so I can update you guys on how many minutes this actually takes. But if I'm not mistaken, it's from anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. So to kind of say that a different way, it is going to stay staying on until it has come up to pressure. And once it has come up to pressure, then you will see the countdown of the timer. So it will say 35 and then it'll just like obviously count down until it is done. And it will start to make weird noises when it comes up to pressure. It might start to spew out a little bit of steam. Just ignore it. It's just doing its thing and, you know, coming up to pressure. So whenever you are pressure cooking, you're going to ignore the less, normal, more buttons here. All you need to worry about is the low and high pressure. And my pressure cooker defaulted to 35 minutes, and coincidentally that's the time that I needed. But if you needed more or less time, you just hit the plus and minus buttons when you first select the pressure cook. Okay, so it took just over 13 minutes to come up to pressure, which is definitely longer than I thought it was. So definitely factor that into your cook time and plan accordingly. But from here on out, it's just going to do its thing. And then after the time is up, it'll start beeping a lot and I'll come back and release the pressure. If you're running an errand or something and you won't be here to release the pressure, that's okay. It will naturally release. Just let it sit there. And then if you have this keep warm button selected here, it will keep it warm and you won't come back to cold food. So I always just keep that selected. It's probably a good idea to keep it on. Okay, so the Instant Pot is done cooking and it will give you this screen next. And currently it's still pressurized, so do not take off the lid. You have to release the pressure before taking off the lid. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If we go over to the lid on the back, here is where you release the pressure. And make sure this is not underneath a countertop. I mean, not a countertop, a cabinet, because I don't know, it just releases a lot of steam and I don't want it to like cause water damage on the cabinetry. So what you're gonna do is push it to the vent and it will come out here. So be very careful. This is really hot steam and I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Okay, side note, this little metal thing will be up when it's pressurized and down when the pressure is gone. So pressure is released because the metal thing went down, so I'm gonna flip that back to sealing. And now you can open the lid. This meat looks so pink on the camera, but in person it is not pink at all. That's very strange. But I am going to finish out this recipe, and that is how you do the pressure cook. Alright, so next up I'm going to show you guys how to use the saute function on the Instant Pot. So all you're gonna do is hit saute, and I just keep it on 30 minutes at normal. And then I'm going to start adding in my ingredients. I'm making a southern green bean recipe. It's the best green bean recipe ever. If you guys want it, let me know and I will share the recipe I use. But I'm just filling, I was going to put bacon grease in here, but my bacon grease is moldy somehow. So I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom and move that around a little bit here. Let that warm up. And after it's warmed up, we are going to put in whatever you need sauteed. This recipe specifically, I'm putting in some bacon, but whatever it is you're sauteing, whether it's meat or onions, bacon like I am, just throw it in there. So as you can hear, it's starting to sizzle up, and you just treat this just like you would a pan on your like range top. It works just the same. So let's say I wanted to change if it was at less, more, or normal for the saute function. Now you would think you hit these buttons over here, but you don't. You just hit the saute and see how it moved it up to more. You just keep hitting it until you're on which mode you want. And that is how you change the mode, and that's the same for anything. If we're pressure cooking, just keep hitting it until it's at the one you want. If we're slow cooking, just keep hitting this. It's kind of confusing with these plus or minus buttons here. So my bacon and onions are sauteed, so I'm just gonna hit cancel, add the rest of my ingredients, and then I'm gonna pressure cook this green bean recipe. Alright, and again, I am pressure cooking this. It's going to be on high pressure for 7 minutes. So just adjust the time. Now remember, this does not include the time it takes in order for the cooker to come to pressure. So that's going to take, like we timed out before, around 12 minutes. You can also change the pressure level by hitting the pressure level button, but we're going to keep it at high pressure. So I'm not currently going to slow cook anything, but I just want to really quickly show you how to use the slow cook function on the Instant Pot. All you do is click slow cook, select if you want normal, more or less by just keep clicking the button. It'll automatically set a time for you in hours. You can obviously adjust that in 30-minute increments here, but that is how you do the slow cook. And you can have it keep warm after the timer is up, or you can turn off that function as well if you don't want it to keep warm. But that is it for the slow cooker function. I hope this video was helpful for you in figuring out how to use your Instant Pot if you've had one sitting around, or maybe this convinced you to go out and buy one. They're really not that expensive. Comment below and let me know what you thought of this tutorial, or whatever it even is. Just let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.